Mm-hmm. Baby girl rolling around. She up. Oh, she's still asleep. Sort of. No, might be up. Let's get your wife a girl. She's wide awake. Come on now. 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 Come on now, man. Come on in, baby. What it is, what it is. I'm gonna just put my name on some of the posts so you all know it's me. We got a lot of contributors to Black Ops Network. You know what I mean? Share light, and it's early. Well, it's early. It's 10 a.m. I notice y'all don't be up in the morning. I got 3 kids, so I be up. They up. I'm up. Some people come in. Come on. Set the vibe right. Well, that's me right there. So you need therapy out there. If y'all haven't seen Judas and the Black Messiah, watch Judas and the Black Messiah. Actually look like Lakeith Stanfield. It looked like not Lakeith Daniel Kaluuya, who looked like Fred Hampton. Who didn't look like Fred Hampton, but it was Fred Hampton without the dark skin. If that makes any damn sense, which it probably doesn't, but that's all right. That's all right. Look, I'm looking at my face on TV, man. The beautiful thing about smart TV, man, is you can go live anywhere on any platform and then see yourself on television. Look at my family in the background. It's beautiful. My girls, I want to go on live real quick. Get a couple people in. You know what I'm saying? Get a couple people in. Get a couple people in. Y'all here. I was looking at some articles, and this won't be long. If I do videos on the cell phone, it won't be long. But I saw something that was pretty compelling in regards to land ownership. We talk about acquiring land and resources and wealth, and as long as you have land, then you have an economic base. As Malcolm X said, land is the basis of all economic infrastructure. And when you own your own land, you set the price range, right? There's things that you don't have to pay that other people do. Even if we acquire land, there's other taxes and things that we have to pay to the United States government. That's why when we talk about nation building, we have a fair nation created so that money isn't constantly stripped from the people. And if they have more money, one, they'll be willing to spend, but eventually, you don't want a million. Like when you watch a television commercial and Senate, of course, Donald Trump again. I'll let y'all deal with that coming up on a week. Um, when you have a third party having control, when you have a government that wants to siphon and suck the lifeblood of its people like America does, you will come up with all types of tariffs and taxes and hidden costs of living. And if you have a limited array of items to purchase, like if you don't have 30 companies creating chocolate bars, as I'll get into that later, or 30 companies that produce water, and we have to decipher which water is actually real, as we talked about before on the show, if you leave your water, like where I'm at, is 18 degrees. If I leave my water in the car, it should be frozen by the time I get home or get back in the car. If it's not frozen, it's not water. But people are selling water, quote unquote, that doesn't freeze. They sell cheese that doesn't melt. Why are they doing this? You see what I'm saying? That's not something you consume. The shit that they make the cheese with should be on some type of uniforms and equipment for firefighters or whatever. But I presume they probably do have it on there because once you put that on your equipment, I can go into any fire knowing that I won't get burned up for the most part anyway. But in each sitting of any show or sporting event, movie, there's ads and commercials. Buy, buy, buy. We know America is a consumer nation. So buy, 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 buy this. No, you should buy this. No, you should buy this. No, you should buy this. No, buy this. Back to your movie. So that's the nation we live in. And you look at the mistakes of America, and you just don't duplicate them. You take the meat, you throw away the bone. Which leads me to Bill Gates. Now these devils, they come on panel discussions, they're on CNN, they have their own networks and the like, and they discuss the future of America. Now we know how Gates made his money, but once you become a billionaire, you get your hands involved in everything. And then you're treated like an expert on things you know nothing about. So when they have some type of seminar and a discussion of the future of America and where it should go, when they talk about health, they're lying, they're trying to get people sick so they can kill them. And they talk about famine. And Bill Gates just became the #1 purchaser of farms, spanning 18 states, over 240,000 acres of land, most in the South. Arkansas, North Carolina, Tennessee, Nebraska. Nebraska's West Coast. So the places where the most abundance of farmland, he's purchased up acres and acres and acres, 240,000. So when these guys say, hey, there's a famine coming, now how does that happen? You know, when they talk about a few years ago, you had Fauci, and we've seen the interviews, them saying, hey, there's a pandemic coming. Well, how the fuck do you know? But they'll say it in such a prophetic way that they'll look at things, and these devils set things, they roll it down the hill. They script this stuff. Because, sports revolutionaries, the analysts. In football, certain games have a team and they have a game plan. The offensive coordinator creates a game plan, an offensive game plan. And he designs it specifically for the defense that they're facing. And a lot of times what they do, it doesn't happen all the time, but a lot of times what they do is they have a game plan and plays to set up one big play. And they set it up so well that right when they line up, if you have great players on your team or knowledgeable players and understanding offense and positions and players and things like that, they know it's a touchdown before they even hike the ball. And if you listen to some of the athletes go over certain plays, if you're into those types of things, but the best players in the world and history of the game would have interviews about certain plays and certain games, Super Bowls, whatever. And they'll talk about it and they'll say when they line up, they saw the defense and they knew it was going to be a touchdown. Everything was going to pan out like it was supposed to. And then it does. This is what they do with us. So when they give these predictions, they have already put things in place where they say, well, this has happened, and this has happened, and this has happened, and it's going to lead to this. This is what we're going to look at. This is what we're going to see. And he comes and he's Nostradamus. He becomes Nostradamus. Motherfucker's not Nostradamus. He's orchestrating this entire thing. When Fauci came out, and he's the scientist and heard around the world. Everybody, no one's heard of this guy, and now all of a sudden he's on like all the televisions. He's on all the news channels. Hell, athletes are interviewing, and he's saying the same thing over and over again. That all we know is we don't know nothing. Then you start getting this guy's past, and you find out this motherfucker should be in prison for the shit he's done. Then you see him in pictures with Rothschilds and all these very other nefarious but important people that hide behind the government and other puppet masters. So you start seeing things for what it is. And then the CDC comes out and says, hey, well, natural remedies, we're going to ban you. We're going to strike you. We're going completely into censorship. The YouTube president. Speaking to niggas. Your Hotep niggas is speaking too much truth. And the shit you're talking about only lines your pockets, and we don't get our cut. We are white, and we have not validated what it is that you're saying, the truth that you're saying, that black people should do to avoid this farcical ass disease. So now it looks like they're going into that second phase, the third phase, whatever phase they're in terms of famine. If the devil owns the farms, and that's what Bill Gates is, the devil, he owns the farms, he can cease production at any time, sending the United States into famine. There was a documentary or something like that, I think a commercial I saw, where one of them, the oldest, man, I forget the motherfucking name. There's like a couple of them that's in movies. He said there's enough food in the world to make everybody on the planet 400 pounds, to make them completely obese. And I'm like, damn, I always thought that. There's a McDonald's on every fucking corner in the hood. We got food galore. It's not good food, but it's consumable. Like, you know, you got this little hood spots. You got gas stations. They got the Habibi stores and everything here. There's food in there. It's not nutritious food. You get no healthy value from it, but it's food nonetheless. And you could live, quote unquote, if you want to call it that, with the food that's there. Now, we want the right type of food. The shit that's there, we want out. Because it's killing us slowly. But when they say famine, and you stop the production of certain things, what are they trying to cause? They're trying to cause chaos. Are they trying to cause revolts? We know that there's entities from higher planes and corporations that fund groups, anarchist groups, to have full-scale rebellions. There are certain ways that they're coming at this thing. And they pay people to kind of get those exchanges going, to force the hand of the government to attack. I looked at this crime series, this dude, David Rashay or something like that, in Waco, Texas. And he had this stronghold. And, you know, he's one of those dudes, those evangelist dudes that basically end up creating these sex cults, what they end up being. But he uses the Bible, he changes his name, and he links himself to people in the Bible and says he's the chosen one and the prophet and all that goofy shit. Whatever you want to do, what ends up getting them fucked up is they actually sadistic pedophiles. They start fucking kids, and then they say all the women in the cult, only they can screw, and they're having all these babies, and he started messing with children, and then that's when things go down. The white folks want to be, I think I see some black people in there too, but white folks want to have these little little areas where they closed off, and it's like 100 or 200 of them, and they got some farm, and they whatever. Ain't no bearing than us. They out in the middle of nowhere, but the government was, uh, uh, they was unnerved because these motherfuckers had a lot of guns. They had guns, they had rocket launchers, they had they had grenades, and he was talking about he was building an army for God, so they know what that means. So he had a 51-day standoff. People was getting shot and killed. You know, these motherfuckers said, "Yo, we going in to get them guns," and the dude said, "No, you're not. You're not coming in here." And the beauty of that Black Panther movie was the sister when Fred Hampton was in jail. That sister was like, "Nah, I ain't coming in here. You know what I'm saying? We gonna shoot this shit out. Fuck it. See what? Let's do it." And final standoff, man. But in any case, you know that's ultimately what they want. They're pushing for that on a mass scale. Also, in West Africa, the Ivory Coast, there was uh, child slavery, and we talk about that. The our African brothers and sisters on the network deal with that on a regular basis. As a matter of fact, they talk about the goings-ons on the continent pretty thoroughly. And this is about cocoa. And I think we might have dealt with this before. I think I've seen the title where this was discussed, but I just happened to come across an article myself. And we talk about all the riches of Africa. And you look at the show named Meltrek. It's a great show, animated show for your children. And it talks about the wealth of Africa, the history of Africa, and mostly song. And my children watch it. They watched it so much they're pretty much through watching it. But it doesn't matter to me because they're gonna watch it continuously. But I talk about the cocoa and the Ivory Coast and child slavery and the fact that the children are working these cocoa farms without pay. That they're as young as 8, 9 years old, and that they've been taken and tricked because you keep the nation impoverished. And so, just simply asking a parent for a child to work somewhere to gain some type of income, the parents like, shit, please do. And then they get trafficked somewhere, and they're off somewhere and they don't have no idea where they're at. And then they're trapped for years. And the people at the top claim ignorance. And so, they're finally, as they got older, they filed a suit and are, are suing all the major chocolate entities that are involved into it. And, who knows what's going to happen with that. But I presume they'll all get on code and nothing will be garnered. But, these are the things. Yeah, I'm here, man. I'm here. Started doing a couple more lives more so the family can see my face. I won't be on long. I'm about to be done anyway. Protect your children. I've seen a sister that I've been on live with before. She does sister sit downs. Named Napasha Doll, beautiful sister. And they were talking about not slave trafficking, but child trafficking and sex trafficking and the disappearance of our women. And one sister got on and it was all right, but eventually, these men's here, these black men's being in sex trafficking, and it's like, sweetheart, we don't have the power to gaff up someone. Then when that person wakes up in a foreign country, we don't have control over that. We're pawns just like everybody else. If you destroy a people, and they make sure the people that they get are utterly destroyed, they have not a righteous bone in their body, been raped, mutilated, imprisoned, all sorts, and they offer them $4,000 or $5,000. Hey, just bring this person here. That's all you got to do. They'll do it. When you keep a people economically impoverished and castrated, you can control them. And so yelling at them ain't going to stop this because we don't control the human trafficking and sex trafficking entities and industries. We are pawns. So when you have these discussions, guess who you're blaming? The pawns. We're pawns. We don't got no power to send you overseas some fucking where, get you through customs and all that shit. What juice we got to do that? They ain't got nothing to do with us. Somebody is coming to us and presenting us this to us, just like when you seen in the movie. If you all seen it, they utilized Little Rail uh, uh, Howery, I guess, the comedian, and he was the one that gave William O'Neill the sedative to knock out Fred Hampton. So you see the white man, but in nefarious things, this is when you see in black people. Now you see in black people when nefarious shit happen. You know, it's like if you don't call it out, call it all the way out. You got to get to the root. If you don't have economic depravity, if you don't have an African consciousness, an infrastructure to teach, to preserve the lives of your people, especially your women, to attack any motherfucker talking about, hey man, we want to sell some sisters up, bow, you punch him right in the face, you gaff that nigga up, and you make him disappear. Or better yet, you follow him back to his superiors and rip the whole thing apart. Make that shit a black exploitation movie like a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, I can't see the live chat. What's up now? Yeah, I seen that. Yeah, I seen that. I seen that. Yeah, type. Yeah, it's going up, man. It's going up. So I just want to, keep doing some more stuff like that, and hopefully, people enjoy the content. We want to grow the channel, and I got to do some more videos on my own damn channel. Um, but it's perspective, it's analysis, it's critical thought, it's all those different things. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, the child trafficking in Africa, we know that is a huge issue. The children are taken and not paid wages, and then these mega corporations make trillions of dollars over time because of our love of chocolate. Matter of fact, my children love chocolate. It's very addictive. My children have very addictive habits. It's like you give them one thing and they want it, and they don't want nothing else. And I really don't like that. But they like chocolate. I like chocolate, but like I have an addictive personality, but I really don't, because it's only for a period of time, and then I just lose interest. I eat chocolate. I eat pizza all day, every day, for 2 or 3 weeks, and then forget about it. You know what I mean? So I've never been hooked on anything. There was just chocolate chip muffins I used to eat all the time. And man, I'm like, I would have the shakes. I'm like, I got even chocolate chip muffins. Oh shit, I didn't even chocolate chip muffins. And all of a sudden I had no money and I couldn't buy it no more. But I might get some from Hannaford. Delicious. They're delicious. But anyway, I just wanted to cover that. Valentine's Day, the history of Valentine's Day and black people celebrating it. And I was talking to a sister the other day. I said, motherfuckers can mess up all year, all the previous year, right? And then as long as they pull off a banging ass Valentine's Day, so other sisters can brag to other sisters, oh look at the flowers and look at the balloons and look at all the pink, and he sent me a bubble bath and he gave me wine and he was nice to me. I love my dad. Now, he ain't been shit the last 6 months. You've been cussing him out on social media all day long, talking about you going to go by yourself, and you sending ass pics and booty twerking stories all day long and everything. And you got your cleavage out. Then when final Valentine's Day come and he like, I had to save up some of this bread. Let me make sure I'm straight for at least the next 3 or 4 months. Let me pull off this banging Valentine's Day and smile and laugh and giggle and take some blue pills and tear it up. And I'm daddy again. And that should last me for a couple months. But again, we celebrating pagan, homosexual holidays where little white boys are plugging people with arrows and making people fall in love with each other. Kids fall in love with their mother and impregnate their mothers, and having parties. It was nothing but men. It's just crazy. There was a whole corporations. ESPN started like that. ESPN started where only men were working there, and they was having these type of parties. Only white men do shit like that. I think the Shriners, Shriners and Masons, they do that shit too. Just be a bunch of dudes partying and shit. We chilling as alcohol. I guess you have your man time and stuff like that. But I ain't into it like that, man. You know what I mean? We hanging out and shit. But it's like, okay, where's the women at? Ain't no women around. This is weird. I don't want to do this regularly. But ESPN was that corporate. They did not want women in the office. So they doing these little parties, these little bussy parties. That's what these people are part of, man. That's what their culture. So we inculcate their culture into our own and have these all male parties. I'm good on all male. I'm a married man. I love my wife. I'm a heterosexual man. I'm good on all male parties. Good on all male parties. I'll say it again. I'm good on all male parties. And that's what Valentine's Day represents. Everything that they bring to us, everything they bring to us is just treacherous. Absolutely disgusting. Yeah. I don't know where it is. Oh, here. Take it. It's absolutely debaucherous. Despicable. Dr. Phil Valentine. I know that's right. It's today. Valentine's Day is today. You know what I'm saying? So it's just oh man. I used to make the back then I call them my Malcolm Little days with my entanglements with devils. The only time we actually got along was Valentine's Day. We put all this stock into it and people taking pictures on it. It's just oh man. And you go out somewhere and you spend a whole bunch of money. Me and my wife, we celebrated Valentine's Day one time years ago before we awoken. We celebrated it one time. And see, it'd be great to have some type of African equivalent. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's ancestral stuff that we can tap back into if we want to. Can use that as a basis, or we can create our own more up to date for the culture, as they say, to connect with the young folks. You can merge the two. You know what I'm saying? You can have a sexified African female deity. I forget her name, and utilize her as the day of love, African love, and reproduction to combat the genocide campaign that we're going against. And we can, you get plant-based food, vegan dishes and stuff like that. And then you have, those people who believe chef those up, and then have the drums and all that. And you have, different hip hop music that's conscious. There's a lot of things that can be done, and we wanted to do it. But again, like I said, you have to organize. I mean, that's real work when you're working on the minds of your people. You know what I'm saying? You're constantly working on your minds and your people. There was a scene in Judas and the Black Messiah where O'Neal, the informant, rap during the classroom period, because Chairman Fred had a 6-week training course, political education training course, and had infrastructure with the Black Panther Party, and how they were to approach women. And so during the class, he up there teaching, and O'Neal sitting there chatting in the sister's ear, and she just like, and so he can hear him faintly, and he turned to look at him like, "Yo, O'Neal, stand up." So he don't want to stand up. He big and bad. Okay, let me sit next to you. What's the party line when it comes to sisters? He can't answer. Anybody? Said you respect your sisters. You respect your sisters. 20 push-ups. And the sergeant was a sister. She got right all up in his face, making him do push-ups. As a matter of fact, she smoked him out as a rap, but he was able to weasel his way out of it And she killed him, who knows if Chairman would have made it another 5 or 6 years. You know how that goes. It's just one of those things, man. But the respect of our sisters, we have the ultimate respect for our sisters, and we have to make it so that it's almost an enterprise. And that it's so great, it destroys those black femi organizations, the LGBT organizations, the trans, women X organizations. They just coming up with organizations. Every new word they come up with, phrase they come up with is a new organization to destroy the idea of black family and multiplying. They wanted to, y'all seen that video with that dude, all that strong ass linebacker ass nigga, talking about I'm a transgender woman. I was I was born a male. And the kid is like, well, why the fuck is you a female? Why you got a dress on? What the hell's wrong with you? Why would you go against God? Are you God? Yes, he's God, bitch. And you was God, now you the devil. Now we must off you. See, when these niggas wear dresses, it's over. I have no tolerance for gay men. None. None at all. None. I have just like this. Gone. Gone. Sisters gotta overdo it. And when you get anally penetrated, that's something else. There's really no coming back from that, man. There's really no coming back from that. When that happens, when your pussy is popped, there's really no coming back from that. Sisters, you can bring them back. That magnetic power of the black man, and they around you vibrating. They're like, you know what? I'm gonna try the real thing again. Come on back, sister. We'll bring you back. That's okay. We can bring you back. But them dudes, you niggas is gone. That's a wrap. That's a wrap, man. That's a wrap. And they know it. That's why they go so hard on these little things, man. I remember one day I was driving. This was like, this was like 10, 15 years ago, maybe, I think. And I'm driving up Central Avenue in Albany. And I look to my right and I see a hippie sister. I mean, she's hips everywhere, just. So I'm looking like, oh, man. And I didn't notice that there was 2 gay men in the car next to me. I was looking right past them. You see your brother, see his sister, we develop X-ray vision, you hear me? I swear to you, I ain't see these niggas. That's my remote control. And it was the summertime, so I had the window down. And I'm looking, and them dudes are staring at me, and I just happened to just glance, and them dudes are staring at me hard. Like, ooh, girl, he looking over here. Look, and they staring at me, and I'm like, oh. I pulled. Oh, my goodness, man. Oh, man. I said, no. 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 You gotta, no. I go through these videos on YouTube and just see, what I can have for my daughters, what they can watch. A lot of the stuff is African based. It's got to be, because anything in American based is white folks in it. Any animations you got, any shows you get for your children, you gotta go to. We talked about the Nigerian equivalent of Hollywood being bought out, so we know where that's gonna go. But you find some of the old stuff, and you view it in Africans aren't overtly sexual. Even when they try to do that stuff, they're not even comedic. They're pretty bland. Y'all ain't funny at all. Which is cool. It's safe because I have my children watch it. That's fine. It's cool. Nice and bland and cool. No sexual innuendos I got to worry about and all that shit. So I have my daughters watch it. And every person, regardless of representation, is black. And see, it's in all walks. It's just the imagery for young minds. It's important. As they get older, they'll develop the individual personalities and characteristics and roles each one's played. You know what I mean? We don't want to immortalize the coon, right? But they can look at the coon at 3 and 4 years old and just see a black person acting a particular way. You know what I'm saying? There's this brother here called Mr. B, um, that's growing his platform doing sight words. So the brother dancing around with all the black kids and he's doing the ABCs and all that shit, and they like him. You know what I'm saying? And then my daughter speaks, I think Swahili. So I have her. I think it sounds like Swahili. I'm not necessarily sure. So, so fuck it. They got Akili in me. This is a show. Got 3 million views with this Swahili. Now I'm sure that's the African children that are watching. Uh, but when you talk about ownership and control, if they're garnering money, like who's garnering the money from these, because you can monetize the videos. Are they demonetizing these videos so the monetary resource doesn't go to the African country that they're shooting in? You see what I'm saying? So I always think of stuff like that, man. It's like, all right, if you got YouTube, there's a lot of money in YouTube, and the African channels are pretty heavy. Now, where's the money distribution coming from? Is any infrastructure being set up so that this thing can grow because it becomes an economic base. Now, you know what I mean. You can evolve it, right, and make it more advanced, thus creating more jobs, thus increasing its popularity, and it becomes the sought after animation for black youths, right? And we don't have to worry about bullshit in there. We don't have to worry about some white man with an erection talking about, can you touch little Timmy? Do you want to touch my penis? We don't have to worry about no bullshit like that because that's what's coming next. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I'm looking at. I'm looking at some of this other stuff, man. I want to have my children watch. My daughter's out here running around, man. I thank y'all for checking a brother out real quick. That's all. That's it. And that's all. Happy Valentine's Day, man. Happy Valentine's Day. Show your ladies some love and all that shit, man. All right, I'm out. Peace.